You know, we have this peculiar idea that if we discover something profoundly true about life, we should immediately tell everyone about it. But I don't mean sharing ordinary knowledge, like how to fix a car or cook a meal. I mean when you really begin to see through the strange illusion of how society works. When you notice things most people seem completely blind to. And here's what nobody tells you. Sometimes the most dangerous thing you can do is tell the truth too soon. Have you ever felt that strange moment when you said something deeply honest and people looked at you as if you'd broken an invisible rule? Nobody tells you this, but spiritual awakening often begins with a quiet, uncomfortable realization. You start noticing patterns. The conversations people have suddenly sound rehearsed. The ambitions everyone chases feel strangely empty. The things people worry about begin to look like shadows on a wall. And you sit there thinking, wait a moment, does nobody else see this? Do you ever feel that subtle distance when you're in a crowded room? Everyone laughing, talking, performing their roles, and yet part of you feels like you're watching a stage play. Not judging, just noticing. And when you try to explain what you see, something strange happens. People become uncomfortable. They change the subject. They laugh nervously. Sometimes they even get angry. And that's when the confusion begins. Because you might think awakening means sharing wisdom openly. But what if everything we've been taught about truth is backwards? What if wisdom isn't about speaking more, but knowing when not to speak? Here's where the danger begins, because once you start seeing certain truths about life, ego, and society, revealing them to the wrong person can create resistance, conflict, or misunderstanding. So let me share with you something very few people talk about. There are certain truths awakened people quietly learn, truths that are powerful, liberating, and beautiful, but also dangerous to reveal carelessly. Let me share 5 dangerous truths spiritually awake people often learn not to reveal too quickly. Not because they're wrong, but because timing is everything. 1. The first truth. Most people aren't actually searching for truth. Now, the first thing you must understand is this. Most people are not actually searching for truth. They're searching for comfort. And that's perfectly human. Think of it like someone deeply asleep in a warm bed. If you suddenly shake them awake at 3 in the morning and shout, "The world is an illusion," they won't thank you. They'll probably throw a pillow at you. It's a bit like trying to pour the ocean into a teacup. The container simply isn't ready to hold that much water. I once knew someone who had a profound spiritual awakening. Suddenly, he wanted to explain everything to his friends: ego, illusion, consciousness. But instead of inspiration, they felt attacked. Because when people hear truth too early, they interpret it as criticism. Think about it. If someone told you tomorrow that everything you believed about success, identity, and control was an illusion, how comfortable would that feel? Exactly. This is why wisdom often appears silent, not because it has nothing to say, but because it understands timing. 2. The second, even more important truth is this. The ego is remarkably skilled at defending itself, and when someone challenges it, it fights back. Think of the ego like a character in a stage play. For years, it has been playing the role of successful person, or victim, or important professional. Now imagine someone walking on stage and whispering, "You know this is just a costume, right?" The actor panics, because if the costume disappears, who are they? Watch what happens in nature. When a creature feels threatened, it defends itself. Humans do the same, but psychologically. I once heard a man calmly explain that happiness doesn't come from status or money, and the room instantly filled with tension. Why? Because half the people there had built their entire identity around status and money. So the ego quietly interprets truth as danger. And that's why awakened people often learn something subtle. You don't argue with illusions. You simply stop participating in them. 3. The third, which is perhaps the most insidious. Society itself functions through a network of polite illusions. Titles, statuses, roles, agreements we never consciously discuss. Think of it as a giant stage play. Everyone knows their lines. The boss acts powerful. The employee acts obedient. The celebrity acts important. The audience applauds. But the moment someone says, "Wait, we're all just actors here," the entire play becomes unstable. Imagine walking into a formal dinner and announcing money is imaginary and status is a social game. Technically true, but socially disruptive. This doesn't mean you lie. It simply means you develop discernment, like a gardener who knows when to pull weeds and when to let the soil settle. And here's the profound part. You can see the illusion without needing to destroy it. Because sometimes people need their roles until they're ready to outgrow them. And the fourth truth, the most liberating of all, is this. Your sensitivity is not a weakness. It's awareness. Spiritually awake people often notice things others ignore. Subtle energies, emotional undercurrents, hidden motives. And for years, society might have told you this makes you too sensitive. But watch what happens in nature. The most finely tuned instruments detect the smallest signals. A violin string vibrates with the faintest touch. Sensitivity is not fragility, it's precision. But here's where the danger appears. If you explain this to people who have numbed their own sensitivity, they may dismiss it, because recognizing your awareness would require them to question their own disconnection. So sometimes, the wisest thing you can do is quietly honor your perception, without needing everyone else to validate it. And the fifth truth, the one that ties everything together, is this. Silence can be a form of compassion. You see, many people believe wisdom means having the right answers, but ancient traditions often taught something different. The finger pointing to the moon is not the moon itself. Words point, experience reveals. Think about muddy water. If you stir it constantly, it stays cloudy. But if you leave it alone, the mud settles. Clarity appears naturally. And in the same way, people often awaken not because someone lectures them, but because life quietly shows them something. So the awakened person learns a gentle art, speaking when the moment invites it, and remaining silent when it doesn't. not out of fear, but out of understanding. So here we are, back to where we started, the strange paradox of truth. You see clearly, you recognize illusions, you notice patterns others overlook, and naturally you want to share what you've discovered. But all of these truths connect in a very simple way. Awakening is not about convincing the world, it's about understanding it. The beautiful secret is this: everyone awakens in their own rhythm, just as flowers bloom in different seasons, some in spring, some in summer, some much later. And your role isn't to force that process. Your role is simply to live with clarity, to see the stage play while still enjoying the performance, to recognize the illusion without losing compassion for the actors. So if you've ever felt misunderstood, if you've ever felt strangely different, remember this: you are not broken, you are not antisocial. You are simply beginning to see the game from a wider perspective. And that perspective brings responsibility, not to shout the truth, but to embody it. So the next time you notice something about life that others seem blind to, pause for a moment. Ask yourself whether the moment is ready for words or for quiet understanding. Remember what we've explored today. Wisdom isn't always loud. Sometimes it's simply the calm presence of someone who sees clearly. And perhaps that's what awakening truly is: the universe becoming aware of itself through you. And so the journey continues. The dance never ends.